It's quickly gotten overwhelmed as it is, especially during Christmas season. I'm fearing what we're going to get going into this Christmas season with boxes coming in and packages, and we're not equipped to handle the volume anymore. So I would like to start probably figuring out how to contact or get some people that would help us contact UPS and FedEx and maybe even Amazon if they're going to continue to deliver more on their own, and see what we can get for a different system here. So
certainly worth the time to investigate.
All right, the next item Randy put on here: additional security for holiday weekends going forward. So I was not in the old Sun holiday weekend, but I followed everything live on Facebook best I could. I know we had 3 golf cart, or I think they're golf cart incidents, one involving an adult and 2 youths, and one of them it did involve a gentleman getting just barely injured, and not disclosing anything. That was all on Facebook. I guess it makes it legal.
Yeah, I believe there was 2 injuries.
Several injuries, and one of them did require life flight, I believe.
Yes,
so Randy just wanted to put it out there that the security guards got overwhelmed pretty quickly. They did not, with only having 2 on staff, they got overwhelmed pretty quickly as far as being able to handle all the emergencies kind of came at once. And Randy wanted to put it on there to discuss whether or not we need to have a 3rd staff on duty during a holiday weekend.
Well, in the past, we asked and we partnered with the social committee to have a 3rd guard on.
They were paying that.
They were
staying over
here. It was cost shared. There was nevertheless.
Yeah, I mean, we at one time had police officers or...
Started with police officers first,
so
and went to security.
I personally think it's a very strong thing that we should do. I do think there should be some cost sharing, but I also think that weekend we had a lot of events going on that don't always have to be on the holiday weekend, which is, makes it even worse. So I don't know that we can rearrange the number of concerts we have in one weekend. We had 2 back-to-back. Could one of those have been 2 weeks before and slot it that way, thus not causing a late congestion issue and all of that.
Yeah.
But I agree, when we have an event up here, we should be looking at more security. I'd like to just keep that on our agenda so we can have this dialogue with Randy in the room.
Yeah, and I don't think it's something we have to solve tonight, because it's obviously not going to happen again until Memorial Day next year, when we kick back up. Things start winding down pretty quickly here. So
I don't think we need them for Thanksgiving Day.
no, I don't think, or Christmas. Probably not. I do hope people listen to me at the youth ORV training meeting that the most dangerous thing a kid can be riding is a golf cart, which I don't think people honestly believe me, but yes, it is. They don't brake well, they don't turn well on our roads, and I hate to see kids getting hurt on them, but it's already.
I can speak to that topic as we were going to the clubhouse Saturday evening and coming up the short hill there. Noticed 2 young gentlemen on a green golf cart coming down the hill at a very rapid pace. We pulled over and stopped because I knew it was going to be a problem. They locked up the brakes, almost went off the right side, burned down the hill, and they managed to recover from that. When I looked in the mirror, they were on 2 wheels. When it came back down to the ground, it went to the right and almost hit a tree. I hope these 2 young gentlemen, who were gotta have been under the age of 10 or 12, learned a lesson.
Yeah.
It could have easily been a double fatality. My wife and I just sit there and looked in our mirrors in horror, because I've never seen a golf cart on 2 wheels before.
Yeah.
I hope these 2 boys just got the crap scared out of them.
Yeah, and I'd like to get security. It's tough to security get spread thin. Just trying to enforce these rules, make sure these kids have been through the rules safety class and talked about. It's a right. It's not a right. It's a privilege to ride in here, and understand the parents need to understand our rules, and they're there for a reason. I don't know maybe we need to go back to next year requiring everyone to go to class every year. I don't know if it's the message is getting lost.
Well, do you think people realize that kids aren't supposed to drive if they're under 12? Do you think?
I don't think people are reading the rules, even though they're in the ECHO. Because when I meet with a parent, I discuss with it. If I do one-on-ones with this, or I meet chair, and they go, "Huh, I didn't know that rule." Well, we put it in every ECHO in the summer, so I don't know that I don't know the message is really getting home that, that everybody kind of panics when we have an accident, or you see something like that, but that's the biggest thing we talk about is safety, following these rules, and being safe, especially on the golf carts and helmets on the four-wheelers, and not overloading golf carts, and understanding that they don't stop well, and so.
Those things, I guess, in the future too, because if there's a serious accident, be it a golf cart, four-wheeler, or a car or truck, we're going to get law enforcement in here.
Yeah.
That's one of my concerns.
And sooner or later, you're going to get somebody in here with a cell phone recording something, and it's going to become a news media, and we're going to get negative publicity out of this, how we let 12-year-old kids drive around without supervision, and it can turn out to be.
12-year-olds are a lot.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
It's
the overall picture.
It's been a problem for a while. We're trying.
Been bad PR for us.
Yeah. Well, it could be
And not to mention the fact somebody's seriously hurt.
We don't want to see somebody hurt, especially kids or anybody hurt. So it's something that we need to talk about this winter, whether or not we're going to require everyone to go through the class again, and to reemphasize to the parents that we have rules and you have to follow them. So for you,
do the parents have to attend those classes along
Yes.
with the kids? Okay.
the parents have to attend, and the parents have to sign a release that they understand the rules and they are responsible for the actions of their kid.
Good.
And some parents I think have been really good about attending and understanding, but I don't know about. It's been tough to enforce. So.
But what are the consequences if a child is caught driving under the age or without his training, or what are the consequences?
Generally, we follow the same board type fine structure. So typically, they would get a warning from Randy. Second offense, they would typically get a fine. If they continue down that course, it just continues the fine structure up to an Article 9, where it becomes the board would have to deal with that. I don't know if we've ever got to that point. I think there has been some fines levied.
We did have an Article 9 in one.
Yeah. So it's rare. Typically, Randy will send a warning letter and people will get the message.
That Article 9 was a person who had a 13-year-old driving a car.
Yeah.
That was an Article 9.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I have 15 and a half year olds driving a car, and it's scary.
Scary
Now
enough.
it's legal. It's scary.
Yes, it is.
Any other questions on the holiday staffing issues? Dan, you want to talk about lodge restaurant staffing?
Yeah, we are experiencing continuing staffing issues in the lodge, and we are down significantly in our staff. So we're looking at options to improve that. We have interviews, although I'm not holding out an extended amount of hope on the interviews that we have coming this week. There's 5 or 6 of them, and they are, our experience has been, maybe 50% show up for the interview. We get a lot of, we've got another job since I scheduled this, or it just won't work for me, whatever. But the staffing is going to cause us a need to change our menu. I'm working with the new team along with Jim and making them aware of what the chefs are recommending, which is mainly going to be a menu that is buffet style, and setting the pricing on a Wednesday buffet through a Saturday buffet. The whole idea behind it is that it puts us in a position where we can, with the existing staff, serve and prepare the meals without affecting overall operations. Meaning, On a Saturday night, if we were to do the buffets and do pizza and this and that, we would be in a position where we just couldn't staff all the places in the kitchen and or deal with it in the,
So it's going to be buffet only? Is that what you're saying?
yep. This is being considered an emergency to us. It is, I've looked at the menus that we've recommended. We've gone back and forth a little bit on it. The team has seen it. Basically, their commentary back to us, which concurs with where we were thinking, is that they don't want to make this permanent, neither do I. But what it would do is allow for service. So one night, for instance, whether it be Thursday or Friday night, might be a pizza night. So we will have that station operating, but we won't have the rest of the kitchen supported, meaning, we won't be flipping burgers or we won't be preparing steak. So it's a very limited, but in another sense, a fairly complete menu that will be available. We're also looking at including a salad bar, for instance, which was not on the original, but on this. So that's a little bit more than just the people issue, but the people issue is driving the other changes.
How many folks are you down? What are you doing?
Right now, I would say we're about half staff.
Yeah.
I
was just trying to get people.
Yeah, no. It's a hard number to come up with because one person might be a 4-day-a-week person, or they might be, only 1 day. So using headcount isn't always the best, but an ideal thing for us with a full menu and having the luxury of all the positions filled, it would be in the 20 range, 18. Now, all of those people wouldn't be on in the role. It's to have enough headcount to handle the variations of people being on. So long and short, it's about half right now. I would say we would normally like to have a staff of 14 over a normal menu, and we're down at 7.5.
Are we gonna cut down the lunch on Saturdays to help that?
We're working on finalizing the schedule. I'll forward out to the group the menu that we're looking at, and we're looking at bringing back Wednesday and dropping Sundays.
Dropping Sunday. What about the lunch on Saturday?
I believe that will probably stay in, but it's not a significant event one way or the other. But
I didn't know if that was a place you could save some hours, but not really.
It's essentially when you have a Friday night prep, you're going to have staff in there getting ready for the larger night of the week. So from the chef's standpoint or the kitchen, you're going to have the same staff on hand as you will to support a light lunch crowd. So.
What's the best way to communicate this to the membership so they understand why we're making some changes?
We'll do our normal communication with the e-blast and out to the Facebook and communicate it that way.
Okay.
When do you anticipate converging on your?
Not this weekend, but the weekend after.
Okay.
Or the week after.
Implementing next week.
Yeah. The whole concern is we're working on a very limited menu. We went through it this weekend. There were still problems with supporting it. We had a call off on the first night of the reduced menu, so instead of having 4 people in the kitchen, we only had 3. So we're still having those problems too. So.
How long before you think you'll be able to get somebody to man the pizza station? Because that's one thing I think is.
I understand. It's
yeah.
It depends on the 6 hires that we might get or might not get.
Yeah.
I would propose though that if we got 2 new hires, I wouldn't instantly put it in. I'd get the staff hired. I'd get them trained. I would get them especially on the pizza station. There's a bit of art to that and capability. We've only had 1 or 2 people that have been really good at it. So we would bring them on, staff it up appropriately, make sure we can handle it, and then bring it back. I would hope it's only maybe a month, but I just, when he has 10 interviews in a 2-week span and he has 1 or 2 people show up for interviews, that is a concern. We're also looking at, are we being seriously competitive in pay? So we're looking at that also.
I don't think this is just us, this is the restaurant industry right now.
Everywhere. I have a son in the industry. I actually had, last Saturday at my house, my son, who is a chef, had people down, and I was talking to them. I would have liked to have hired the whole crew. There was 2 chefs and
I don't think we can afford that.
yeah, and wait staff. But from a headcount standpoint, I would really like it. No, it was, and they said everywhere they're working, they're having staffing issues, and some to extremes. So
What were the weekend numbers like?
they were okay. I didn't go into any great depth in looking at them. I've been a little busy with trying to juggle that and the meetings with the management or in the lodge and having guests. So
Just wondering.
no, I'm just telling you.
Hey guys, I think this could be a positive step. I mean, I think you're moving towards getting everybody being served. We've got some good foods, and it may be that maybe Wednesdays from now on is buffet day. So
And that's fine. And I think we just need to keep looking at the right changes to match the staffing and still provide a good service. I would rather you do what you're doing, Dan, is make the changes and still to be able to provide a decent service versus try to run it understaffed and nobody gets good service or.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's.
trying to pair it up makes sense. But
I'd love to see a buffet on a Wednesday or something. I think.
well, you're going to see it 4 nights.
I'm fine with that.
And we'll see how it goes.
Any other questions, comments, concerns on lodge staffing? All right, we'll watch for the e-blast and try to get it on
Well,
the
the other thing I'd say is, Dan, there is a fairly new group, representative group of people that are on the food services committee, people that have not been part of it before, and they're asking very good questions.
Yeah, no, I think they are too.
It's not me and Kirk sitting there, so
It's grounding everybody in the experience is, I felt at a point in time, this weekend I was getting so many questions that I tried to advance and say, for instance, one of the questions might be, is this going to necessarily be profitable? Well, there's a few things I don't know, like how much sales are we going to have? So some very basic things that we need to experience instead of just say, yeah, it's likely. I mean, we're obviously driving for it to be profitable, but if we have a situation where people don't come, it's not going to be very profitable. So
How soon will we see something?
I'll send you guys out the menu tonight. So I don't expect us to finalize it until midweek, maybe Thursday, Friday, and then we'll start doing the communication as I laid out. Unless you guys have some other things you would like.
No, I think continuing to give members good service, good food will get
Well,
us
we
in the
gotta
right
keep the
direction.
quality, and we gotta
Quality
be able to not have to throw food away every day, so that's gonna be a challenge for the staff.
That might happen too, but
But it's gonna be a big challenge.
I mean, this weekend, we had quite a bit of scrap because of issues with the Saturday night event, or Friday night event.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, any questions before we move on? We're gonna have a record meeting here.
I know, this is good.
Put them all on YouTube. No smoking rules. So the reason this has come up, all of our facilities are no smoking per Ohio state law and club rules. The lodge, the clubhouse, offices, the great room are all no smoking. It's kind of came up where some members at the clubhouse were vaping, and I think somebody asked them, could you step outside? I said, well, it's not against the rules, and it's probably not currently against state rules. And I think Randy went to the Hocking County Commissioner, and they said it's not really against the Ohio smoking law, but it probably will at some point get factored into there. So we just wanted to have kind of an open discussion about, do we want to make our facilities no smoking and no vaping, or just leave it no smoking?
I asked that same group that was at my house on Saturday night, so I used their expertise or their experience. They all happen to be vapors in their private life, and all of their restaurants that they've been experienced with also have anti-vaping. They just put it in with their rule for smoking. So no smoking and vaping is essentially their corporations. I mean, one is 8 to 10 restaurant chain, and another has similar kind of experience where they've.
Where are you allowed to smoke at?
Huh?
Where are you allowed to smoke at?
Wherever you're allowed to smoke, you would be allowed to vape.
No, that's not what the question is.
Yeah, I know.
The question is where are you allowed to smoke? If you read the Ohio rules, you have to be I think it's 50 feet away from a door that opens into the smoking area, or an area where employees are not serving drinks or food.
And then how can they smoke out on the deck at the clubhouse?
That's not really legal,
There's a lot
from my
of-
interpretation of the law.
I agree, but
Well, that was my question. No sense in creating another rule if we're not following the rules which should be in place now.
Well, I know
That we have in place that says it is not.
we're wanting to go down that road. I know the golf committee has been having discussions about trying to get a way that they can go out and smoke at the shelter house, at least have somewhere to go legally away from the door and get out there and smoke and vape. I know that's been discussed, so.
It'll be just a matter of getting the funds, the plans put there, and we've got to go and get some approvals done, but, yes.
I think that's a good solution. They still have a good covered place, dry place to go smoke, but we're not right by the door or where waitresses have to serve food and drinks in an environment that's smoking.
What are they gonna do? Or what is the proposal?
The proposal is to essentially build a walkway from the back deck over to the shelter house. And then add some additional steps. The steps that are there at the clubhouse right now are not to code by any means. We're gonna rip those out, put regular steps down to the lower level, and just make it a safer area.
From the shelter house down to the 9th green, there were a set of.
But there's interior stairs that
There.
walk up.
You'd have to go down and then up and around.
It just seems you could go out the front door and walk over to the shelter house, and
You can.
I'm just trying to understand the logic of the funds, so.
I think the theory is to try to give people an easy way when it's raining or inclement weather to get over there. I think that's the theory.
I don't think that whole idea is not simply to accommodate smokers, it's to accommodate.
It's not, the
Okay.
steps are in bad shape. I believe the idea is to also force golf carts to go around, because that coming up that hill has not been safe. People
Oh,
walking
you're talking
down.
about steps going down through that path between the
Yes, so
shelter
we're gonna
house
redo
and
that at
okay, I
a
didn't
walkway.
understand.
It's a multi-function kind of,
Yeah, those steps going
Plan.
down from the shelter house down to the 9th green, they're basically just all-weather lumber.
They're more dangerous than walking down
Oh,
the
especially when it's
path.
wet, no question.
I'll go check it out myself, so I can.
I would be very careful.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be running down the stairs.
I'd walk
More-
beside them instead of
Yeah,
walking.
I always walk around, but I don't
Okay,
ever go.
real
up
safe
steps.
Use the handrail.
I go up even.
Well, it needs to be something that's safe for everyone, and handrails, it's, somebody can go out there and safely smoke, or go out there and watch TV.
Yeah, no, it makes more
Games or
sense
whatever,
now that I understand that the steps themselves are needing to be repaired. So if you're trying to do it all together, I can kind of understand it.
Yeah. So what's everyone's feeling about the vaping? I think it needs to be concluded with the smoking, and it just needs to be done outside or away from the doors. It's my opinion, but I don't want to vote on it tonight, though.
Yeah.
That's we vote on.
If I were to
Vote a recommendation.
I would definitely vote that no vaping, no smoking.
We just include vaping with the smoking.
Although it's distinct in Ohio law, that's the only issue.
Huh?
It's distinct in Ohio law.
But
In what
vaping
way?
does not include smoking.
Vaping is not considered smoking. You can legally vape inside of buildings.
Unless there are rules
And
against
yes, there are, I'm saying,
Yes,
under
there are.
Ohio law.
Yeah, when I question these people that have the experience, they said one thing about the e-cigarettes or vaping is there is secondary smoke or secondary fumes.
Of course.
They can affect people sitting next. And I said, tell me, can you smell it? And they said, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So it has the same negatives, I guess, as smoking. And so.
I'm just.
No, and I
No,
think
no,
it's
no.
a valid point. I think it's just, it would ultimately end up going to, I don't know if the board would have to make a rule or the management committee could just establish that there's no smoking, I don't know.
I don't, unless somebody appealed it, I don't get involved in it.
I think the
It's more
management,
operation,
Yeah.
yeah.
so we'll probably bring it up at the next meeting, as another discussion, bring it to a vote, as far as whether or not we want to just make our eating facilities, no vaping, along with no smoking, obviously.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not in favor of it, I'm just pointing out things that I would prefer not to.
Steve, you got opinion one way or another?
We'll mull it over and talk about it next meeting.
It's a good opinion.
still-
I think ultimately you're
That
gonna
was
see
my
that,
question.
you're gonna
If
see
we
the
debate
state
the
amend the
rule,
rule.
If we're not already have rules in place, we're not enforcing it, why create another rule that we don't enforce it?
Okay, I'm not gonna argue that the current limitations of not smoking in this restaurant and the clubhouse proper restaurant is not being done. And we don't allow smoking in it. We have to give our employees, the help of some level of rule that says vaping doesn't occur inside our buildings. And the deck is an area of question, I agree. Again, if you're asking my opinion, I would make it easy and not have any smoking in there, in either of those locations. But I understand the smokers like to be able to be there, and I understand that. I have looked at the law myself, and there are, in my opinion, it's fairly straightforward. So I think we talked about it and we said we would table it and then come back to it, in the fall, and that's what we're doing. So.
But I think it's a good idea to just continue to talk about it, but, I'd like to see the golf committee's plan as far as making the shelter house easily accessible so that people can go out there and, especially in the winter, they can at least have a way to get out there safely, and then we can change it to saying, you can't smoke on the back end either, it's not legal. And we're gonna have to enforce that. We've given them some time to come up with a good solution for everyone.
Yeah, if somebody called into the health department and complained about us, we would be forced into action.
Yeah.
So I want to be progressive on it, but I do want to see the plan of the golf committee's proposed change and make sure we can do that safely, and it makes it a safer area for people to get out there. So, any other questions on the smoking, vaping rules?
I would just say, there's a few places that I hang out in Powell, that have similar layouts like our clubhouse. And they're obviously are not enforcing a no smoking situation there because most of those places have patios right off of a exit. And I believe that's the rule is I think it's 25 feet, not 50, but that's semantics.
I thought it was 40.
Okay, but
I haven't looked
I
at it in
can
a while.
absolutely tell you, there are plenty of places in Powell that have patios right outside their doors that allow people to smoke.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not being enforced as far as the state of Ohio is concerned, and that's a pretty public area.
Yeah, I would ask you, do their servers bring food and drinks out there
Yes.
where people are smoking?
Well, the few places that I go to are alcohol facilities.
Yeah, and people, they
So they're
actually
required-
serve out there where people are smoking.
I would say there's certain, the places that I have in mind right now are not serving meals, but they, of course, are required to serve something because they're a bar.
Yeah, I didn't know if the servers had to go into that smoked environment to actually serve the drinks.
They did when they're serving drinks.
Yeah, and see, that's
So-
employee could come back and say, I'm being forced to go into a smoke environment. You know,
There's just plenty of places that
I know there's a
so-
lot of places that just accept the fines or accept the risk, but I don't know if we want to be that place either.
Okay.
So, just a discussion. Any other items anybody wants to bring up before we wrap up? All right.
Guys, I got to say, I think we got the sound and everything worked out. We have some people that are watching the meeting, and I think we've got everything looking pretty good right now.
Good, thank you. Wonderful. Thanks for getting this set up.
Sure.
All right, we're adjourned.
Okay, so we're still live. We're still live. All right, so to do that, yeah, there you go.
Ohio State.